Okay, so worksheet 4, number 5. A bug crawls along. That sounds like the quiz question. A bug crawls along the curve given by that thing, where x represents time. X is between 0 and 2 pi. The bug begins its journey at the origin. Where's the next time that the bug is on the x-axis? Let's see, x-axis would mean y equals 0. So let's put 0 in for y. Oh, I don't like this one, and I see why you don't like it, I think. What's the problem with this one? I can't factor it because there's sines and cosines in there. So it'd be really nice if I could make a match so I could factor this thing. I seem to remember there's a equation that tells me that sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So should I solve this for, which one should I aim to replace? The sine squared or the cosine? Which would be the sine. The sine, because it's already squared. If I try to replace cosine, I'm going to have to do square roots, and then I'm going to have some weird, I don't want to do that. It'd be much easier to replace sine squared, because sine squared is 1 minus cosine squared. So in place of sine squared goes 1 minus cosine squared. Everything else is the same. So let's see. How many steps can I do at once and not mess up? I'm going to distribute the 2 and combine like terms at the end. So 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So too many steps at once. Distribute. And then hold on to the 2 until I get to the end, and then combine. I still don't really want to factor that. Is there something I could do to make my factoring life easier? I could change the cosines to use. There's also something else I want to do to make my factoring life easier. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you can pull out -1.
Yeah, I can multiply through by -1 and make all the negative stuff, make it all switch. I better not do both of those at once, because that might mess up who I think U is. Negatives, because I want my lead coefficient to be positive. Now here's where our paths might diverge, because you could factor that as is, or you could say that looks ugly, I don't want to mess with that, I'll put U's in there. I think I'm going to put U's in there, because if you don't put U's in there, you're just going to skip over a couple of my steps. So if you can do it without the U's, fine. If you need to use the U's, also okay. But you might want to make a note that U is cosine of x, because we'll need to come back to that in a moment. Okay, got to be able to factor, especially with a lead coefficient that's not 1. Although this is about as easy as it gets, because the only two things I can multiply to get 2u squared would be 2u and u. And the only way to make 1 is 1 and 1. And if they're both negative, let's see, I'd have negative u and negative 2u, and the negative 3u works. Now I'll put the cosines back in there. So 2 cosine x minus 1 equals 0. Cosine of x minus 1 equals 0. And now we've done all the hard work. Now we've got 2 easy I hope I can call them easy at this point. Easy unit circle type problems. So cosine of x equals 1/2. Perhaps a day will come when I don't need to draw the picture, but that day has not arrived yet. Pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. And then cosine of x equals 1 at 0. But now let's read the question and make sure we answer the question that's asked. We solved the math. Now let's make sure we answer the right question. The bug begins its journey at the origin. So that would be at x equals 0, y equals 0. So that's that guy. So that checks out. What is the next time that the bug is on the x-axis? Well, the next time would be at pi over 3, because that's the next time in order. So at pi over 3 seconds, we'd be back at the origin on the x-axis. So that's about as hard as a problem as we could ask you. It had factoring, but it had some substitution before you could factor. You could do the U substitution thing, broke into a couple different pieces, and then you had to reread the question to make sure you answered it the right way.
I don't understand how pi over 3 is the answer.
Okay, so x represents time. So when time is 0, we're at x equals 0. Let's see, he's crawling along the curve given by that. So whatever that curve looks like, he's crawling along that curve. It starts at the origin. I don't know what the curve looks like, so I should be very careful here, but okay, obviously that is not to scale. So he starts at the origin. The next time he crosses the x-axis is at pi over 3. That's when y is 0. He crosses it again at 5 pi over 3, but that's later. We don't want the later time. We want the next time. And what was your other question, Crystal? 7? Find the x-intercepts. Oh, 7's a good one because the 2x thing in there. So x-intercepts means y is 0. 0 equals sine squared 2x minus 2 sine 2x plus 1. Use substitution, yes or no? What's your preference? No, you can factor without it. Sine 2x and sine 2x, 1 and 1, both minus signs. Again, that's pretty quick, but I'm assuming you know how to factor. If you need to put u's in there, that's perfectly okay, but you'd still land at the same spot. That's kind of nice. That means that's actually the same answer, right? Like that's the same. So instead of getting two separate equations to work with, I've really only got one I have to worry about. Alright, the sine is equal to 1 up there, and up there would be pi over 2. But that 2x, what else do I need to be thinking about here? I need to double it. I need more answers. So how do I get my other answer? So pi over 2 plus 2 pi gets me 5 pi over 2. And then I can multiply by 1/2 to fix the 2 thing. So x equals pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. Charlotte?
How did you get 5 pi over 2 then? I know you added 2 pi, but wouldn't that be pi over 3?
if I'm going to add 2 pi, I have to have a common denominator.
Oh.
Did that answer it?
Yeah.
Any other questions from worksheet 4? Again, I'm going to give you time to work. Test is on Thursday. You've got the whole packet. Answers are posted. We'll probably do some warm-ups tomorrow. I don't want to do another quiz. I will return your quiz. But yeah, so you got time today to work on worksheet 4, and then tomorrow you'll have time to work on, or wherever you're at, you've got some time to work on it. But I do want you working on it, not watching TikTok videos.